Today, we're going to talk about why it's okay for you to get bored sometimes. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Home Studio Hangout podcast. Super excited that you're here with me today. I had a friend of mine, Evan Rogers, previous guest on the podcast, post something over on Threads. By the way, if you want to go hang out on Threads, follow me at Music by Drew on Threads. I post over there a decent amount, and I interact with a lot of people over there. It's super fun. Had my friend Evan Rogers post on Threads, and he posted, taking time away from the grind is so beneficial. Boredom really does help yield new insights about what you do. Get bored once in a while. And I responded, pardon me, turning this into a podcast episode real quick, which is what I'm doing right now, because I think this is super important for us to think about. I think that we get lost in the grind of trying to keep up so much, the grind of trying to constantly push ourselves, moving forward, learn new things, do something every day, 1% every day mindset, atomic habits mindset, which I don't necessarily disagree with. However, that can yield a lot of mental strain and a lot of stress on you, especially when you're doing this thing all by yourself, which I think is a totally different topic for maybe why you shouldn't be doing that. But in the beginning, a lot of times you are doing this majoritively by yourself. And being able to take some time away, step away, take a vacation, especially as we're moving into summer, take a vacation, step back, and just let your mind go, let yourself dream, let yourself get bored and think about all of the things that you're doing and just reminisce on the fun times, the bad times, the good times, and then come back to your stuff after this, letting yourself get bored, this time of reflection or wandering or however you want to view it. Coming back to reality after that time is going to give you a fresh perspective. It's going to give you a way to focus in a way that previously you probably couldn't have, because one, you were probably too close to it. You've been in it for too long, and it's hard to see the forest from the trees sometimes when you're so far in it, when you're so deep in it. It's hard to see the things that you do need to change, the things that may be unhealthy, the things that aren't actually being beneficial for you. But then number two, you just need that mental break. Being in it that deep for so long, you kind of get numb to things. Like I said, with number one, you get so far in it, it's hard to see the forest from the trees, but also you just are on repeat. You're doing the same things and you're not making progress and you're kind of banging your head against the wall, and that's the definition of insanity. And so taking the time away to just let everything calm down, to taking the time away to just let your brain refocus on what your true goal is, what your true priority is, and then come back to it. But then also, number three, taking the time away will also help you reconnect with the things that you need to be focused on. Looking at things like your priorities, your family, your goals as a business owner. Like you get lost in the minutia of making content, lost in the minutia of having to stay on top of everything, gaining new clients, doing all of this stuff, fulfilling on, whatever thing you're doing, whether you're a producer, mixer, master, songwriter, all of those things. Taking the time to step away and then refocus on, hey, I really got into this to do X. I really got into this to help artists make better music. Or I really got into this to help new artists launch their careers. Or I really got into this because I wanted autonomy. And right now I don't feel like I have autonomy because I'm beholden to all of these other projects and all of these other people. And when you can take a step back away and give yourself time to just relax, get bored, let your brain wander, you can then come back with those things clearly in your brain and then cut away the things that aren't necessarily providing the end-all be-all goal enough support. If your goal is to help artists launch their career, yet you're finding yourself doing some other thing. You find yourself mixing or vocal editing 90% of the time. Well, that's not really, that could be on the way to that goal, but that's not a direct impact to that goal. You need to be searching out new artists. You need to be producing. You need to be songwriting. You need to be developing. On the other hand, if you're like, oh, my goal was autonomy, and like I said, you find yourself beholden to a bunch of other people's schedules, well, that's not true autonomy. You just have, instead of having one boss telling you what your schedule is, you have 20 bosses telling you what your schedule needs to be from week to week. And so reapproaching when you come back to the work, reapproaching everything from a, separating yourself and coming back with clarity, I think is huge. Yeah, I just wanted to get on it and say that. I also wanted to get on and say that we are moving into summertime. And for me, that means a lot of work, a lot of vacations. I actually have spent the last week, it's Friday as of day of recording this, and normally these episodes come out on Thursday. And this whole week, I have been in sessions, about 12-hour day sessions all week, and it's been crazy. It's been super fun, and I'm really excited to talk about that stuff later in the future when those projects drop, because some of them I can't talk about right now, but I'm very excited about those. However, that does mean I'm going to have to do what we just talked about and take a step away. But I wanted to do this in a more creative way, which is I wanted to try to do some of these shorter idea episodes where, similar to this one right here, where I have an idea and I come and I just do a short, 5 or 10 minute-ish type episode, drop a nugget of something that I'm thinking about or something that I realized, or maybe a piece of a conversation that I had, kind of relay it back to you guys. And that'll be what the podcast is over the next couple months, June and July. And I think is going to be really fun. I think I want to call it Summer Shorties or something like that. But I think it'll be super fun. For me, it'll allow me to take a step away from the podcast for the next couple months. Look at guests, because I want to make sure that I'm getting really, really great guests interviews. Also, let me and Josh backlog a couple episodes, some co-host episodes as well. And then also take a look at, my priorities and what my work is, and not get overwhelmed, and make sure that I'm balancing myself as well. So very excited for this. Just wanted to hop on here, give you this little nugget of wisdom and also this information. Very excited for the summer. I'm excited to try out this new little format for the next couple months. It's going to give me a much needed chiller couple of months and let me get ahead on some projects and caught up on some things, and relook at the podcast and try to come back in August with a much better episodes and much better guests and all the things. So I want to let you know I want to hear what you guys think of this. So drop it in the comments. If you're listening on Spotify, there's a comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a comment section. If you're listening somewhere else that doesn't allow you to comment, feel free to DM us at Home Studio Hangout on Instagram and let us know what your thoughts are. But without further ado, that'll be the end of the episode. Thank you so much for this. Let's take this and apply this to ourselves. Be thinking about this as we go into the summertime. Love you. Thank you. I'll see you next week for another short one. See ya. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast. If you could take the time to like, subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other audio platform, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed, and also leave a rating and a review. It helps the show get out to new people, and we're trying to grow every single week. Once again, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast, and we'll see you next week.